What skills are you working on right now to become better at your job?
Well, in my role at Frog, I'm part of an interdisciplinary team. And this is different than multidisciplinary. And I think most companies, most people aspire really to work on multidisciplinary teams where it's a bunch of different people with their different perspectives and they each kind of represent those perspectives. That's can be very productive and very useful. It's certainly better than being siloed and not having that interaction. But I think of being interdisciplinary as being able to actually use the perspectives of the other people for yourself, not through them, but actually have some of those skills yourself. And so it's very critical to understand how to do design, not necessarily well, but to understand the logic, to understand how, how can I inform someone who's going to be using, we'll say, a design-based process. They're not going to necessarily need input that is like the output of a typical marketing or strategy kind of process. That's just not inspiration. Mm-hmm. So you don't see that delta unless you've tried to actually use that input for yourself on your own as a designer. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that you have to actually be able to do great comps and wireframes. But I think it's wonderful to be surrounded by people who are so willing to accept the chicken scratch as input because they see the sort of heartfelt effort, and it actually does translate, even if it doesn't come across in a way that can be polished, or that is polished and it can be going in front of a client. And it also helps, I think, build up the muscles for seeing the work that I do differently, even with, that's within the, say, fields of, say, strategy or marketing or psychology. I can actually start to think a little bit differently about those activities and those frameworks. Mm-hmm. So, but it's actually developing the skills across these fields so that in a group, and actually developing the same in others so that you can raise the bar and the common denominator isn't so low. Mm-hmm. So it means I've got to build up the capacity of other people to understand how to think, say, in more traditional strategic terms, just as they're helping build up my capacity to do the same as a, say, technology expert or as a creative, and that allows us to have a better jam session. You think of it in terms of music.
Right. You are seeing that reciprocity.
Very much, and that's a part of, I think, for our world where so much is tacit. Mm-hmm. Our knowledge is of a field that's also of each other, and so it's sort of critical, I would say, to remain immersed and to give yourself the time to develop that kind of tacit understanding of things with other people. And that's a part of, I would say, leadership, or at least how I think of it